Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
This is our YouTube channel. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel.
We also have a podcast down in the description. With him, that's Haberman. Me, that's Middlecoff. Subscribe to that as well.
All right, John, time to talk 49ers first-round wide receiver, 6-footer but an 80-inch wingspan, Brandon Aiyuk. We thought the Niners would trade out of the first round with their 31st pick. Instead, they traded up to get this guy.
Well, one thing's pretty clear when the dust settled and the draft ended is that they had this guy targeted, right? And it felt like last year when they got Deebo Samuel, that was a guy they liked. This draft, to me, was a little more unique because the amount of wide receivers. Remember, last year there were only 2 guys to go in the first round. This year it felt like 6, 7 guys could go. They were going to have a chance to potentially get the top guy at pick 13, which they ended up having the opportunity to do. But as we've learned, Kyle Shanahan leans defense. Took Javon Kinlaw, and then it was like, are they going to take a guy at 31? Are they going to be able to trade out? It kind of became clear the trades weren't really happening like I think we had thought coming into this quarantine draft. And then they throw the all-time curveball to trade up. And when they did that, I was like, whoa. And then to take this guy, which is a favorite of mine, favorite of yours, favorite, everyone I texted in the NFL loved this guy. Most people I talked to had the top 3, in some order: Ruggs, Judy, CD, and this guy. One thing's clear, though, Guy, when you draft players at any position beside probably quarterback, scheme is very specific. Kyle likes something specific, right? With Deebo Samuel, a physical guy, a guy that can break tackles, a guy that can do things with the ball in his hands. It makes sense why they like CeeDee Lamb. That was kind of his mold. This guy was just a less accomplished in college because he's a junior college transfer. 2 years ago, N'Keal Harry, which was a first rounder, went to Belichick. This year got his chance to shine and shined, right? So now he's going to a place. If I'm Brandon Aiyuk, I couldn't be any more excited when I hear one of the best offensive coaches in the NFL loved me, and I'm in a position too. It's not like they got 25 wide receivers. I'm an immediate starter next to Deebo Samuel.
Right, but I don't have to be the number 1 guy. Don't even have to be the number 2 guy. Plus, there's running backs. I think as much attention as N'Keal Harry got coming out last year, in the end, they loved Brandon Aiyuk even more than Harry at ASU. This was the guy, it turned out, they really liked. Don't forget Herm and John Lynch are close. I talked to 2 people at ASU. They love the guy, so I think they're getting a really good fit in terms of a person as well.
On N'Keal Harry, I think if you put N'Keal Harry's 2018 season and Brandon Aiyuk's 2019 season both in a vacuum, and you just said, what prospect would you rather have? I think the entire league, including Belichick, would have taken his 19 season over N'Keal's. And I'm a N'Keal Harry guy. I'm not selling my stock on N'Keal Harry. This guy, just a different type player, right?
Into the film room we go, John, for this guy. And we take another look at him. What are you looking for, wide receivers? Just a quick kind of checklist.
Really quick, how sweet are the all-black
ASU's got great unis.
God, they do. They're badasses. I think the number one thing you look for in a wide receiver, even before the routes, is hands. If you can't catch, you can't play wide receiver. It's like a kicker that can't kick. It's the number 1 attribute. Can you catch the football?
Okay.
To me, the routes, it comes up a lot, but you pay, the 49ers head coach is the offensive coordinator. They got Wes Welker. They got all these offensive, you can coach up routes, though you like a guy to be a refined route runner, at least have the basis down when you get a hold of him. And when we dive into the film room, this guy's a good route runner. I think run after catch, probably now more than ever, just because so many defensive backs and even safeties now aren't great tacklers. This isn't the mid-90s with a bunch of Ronnie Lotts running around. So if you're a physical player with the ball in your hands and willing to break tackles, you can go nuts. Look at Deebo Samuel last year. He really stood out because of how physical he is with the ball. Then I think there's an element of just how fast do you play? It's one thing to time speed. I think Devontae Adams, a guy you and I bring up a lot.
Yeah.
He got kind of red flag coming out of college because he wasn't a 4.47 guy. But everyone that watched Devontae was like, well, who's really catching him? Who's covering him? And what's happened in the NFL? No one can hang with him. Is he a 4.3 guy? No, but his play speed is excellent, and I think Brandon Aiyuk falls under that. And at the end of the day, Guy, as Charles Woodson once said, work hard, make plays.
Yeah.
And making plays is, the number one attribute to me when all the dust settles for a wide receiver. Can you make plays? The greatest wide receiver ever, Jerry Rice, made plays. Randy Moss, Terrell Owens. You go through the list of all the Hall of Famers. Make plays.
Okay, so this is
for
early.
all the nuances of the position.
Yeah, this is
plays.
early in the year. We're just going to look at some big plays, then we'll go through some of those things you're talking about, Middlecoff. This game, you can see the score and the time. It's late. The offense was horrific this entire game. This is by far the biggest play. Broke the game open. That's Josh Scott, the DB for Michigan State that he beats. And Arizona State would go on to win this game. So you give him some credit there for getting open, got the defensive back to stumble on that route. All right, we'll start here with some big plays then. This is Oregon. Big play. Nice adjustment, nice catch. What would you write down in the scouting report on this one?
I'd say the ability to catch the ball at its quote-unquote highest point. Whenever you shoot your hands up last minute, Randy and Jerry were king of that. The defensive back, if you shoot your hands up early, he knows the ball's coming, and maybe he can turn his head. Maybe he can make a play on the ball. Not all balls are going to be from Tom Brady or Drew Brees. We know that watching Jimmy.
Yeah.
You got to adjust. So players that can adjust the footballs in the air, especially when you got a DB draped all over you, is not easy. Like that's a really difficult play.
I mean, these are a couple big plays. This is Oregon again. He's at the top. This is what kept Oregon out of the college football playoff, was ASU winning this game. This is a huge – we're going to see a lot of this. So this is a guy – again, this is your point, John. He's a 4-5 guy, but multiple times has the ability to run away from chasing defensive backs.
I think for a guy that doesn't – even his play speed isn't like elite, he plays fast. I think Debo is a good example of that too. I think him and Debo, very similar. They play fast. Are they going to have Deshaun Jackson type plays in the NFL? No. Are they Henry Ruggs, who was the first wide receiver taken to John Gruden? No. But they play fast. And then when the ball's in their hand right here, they run through contact. Think of how many extra yards you can get as a wide receiver from just being physical with the football. Most defensive backs, guy, are not Richard Sherman. They don't really want to tackle you, right? They just want to get you to the ground. So they're not coming at you like they're fucking Luke Kuechly. If you play physical with the football in your hands and you're playing fast, you can just end up with a 70-yard game can be 120, right? Just because you make plays after. Wasn't he the leading yards after catch guy last year in college football? That's saying something.
Here's another one. And you're noticing these are both Oregon State, which, but these are big plays. That was a big 3rd and 10.
Feisty program.
Yeah, they got a lot better on defense. This is a 4th and 8, down by 7. They need this. They ended up going for 2 and not getting the extra point, or this would have been the game-tying touchdown. But these are big plays.
That's a nice little route, though, guy. He sets him up. He doesn't break inside right away. He gives him a little hezzy, like he might go, run a little flag to the back, corner post of the end zone. Not corner post, but the corner of the end zone. And he kind of hits him back up inside. That's a great play.
I got some more routes for you.
It's a big-time play.
Can I sneak my own highlight in here, John?
What are we doing?
Play action. Big pocket. Big throw. Aiyuk. Big catch. Down inside the 10-yard line.
All right.
What a call.
Thank you. This is some route running. Now we're going to get into the route running aspect. We look at big plays. Now let's look at some route running here.
To me, I don't know if the Niners have this exact play in their playbook, but how much stuff do they get Jimmy on the move, misdirection, coming back where the guy's running a slant, whoop, go back the other way. That to me, this has elements of – honestly, guy, when you watch stuff like this, it's easy to see where Kyle, is quarantined at his house, texting John Lynch, I fucking love this guy, right? Because this is their plays, these type routes. Everything is misdirection. So if you get a guy, to me, the route running, maybe they weren't, we'll find out more as time goes on, but like Jerry Jeudy, like that Marvin Harrison, that Amari Cooper, they're looking more for something different, right? They're looking for more of a guy, catch the ball within 10 yards, break a tackle, make things happen, versatility. You start, as time goes on, it's crazy how you learn exactly what they're looking for in players. Now looking back, we should have been all over why they would have liked this guy. And really, CeeDee Lamb, the more accomplished version of Brandon, why they loved him too. He does a lot of this breaking tackles.
This highlights against USC. I'm going to show you something. This is from the Colorado game. This is him on a linebacker. He gets lined up a lot outside, but this is some versatility and some route running. Obviously in the slot here, it's Nate Landman, who's a first-team All Pac-12 linebacker, and this is, again, you would imagine something that Kyle Shanahan loved.
I would say this guy. If I'm Kyle Shanahan or I'm any NFL scout evaluating Brandon Aiyuk, if you're a first rounder, I don't care if you're playing an All Pac-10 or 12 or SEC linebacker, if you're not being covered by a defensive back, a safety, or a corner, you should eviscerate them. They should not be. If you're a first round player at wide receiver, and this guy has no chance, like, to me, that is the price of admission, and he makes it look easy, as he should. Because he'd probably tell you, is there a chance when he looked up and saw the guy covering him, like, started licking his lips, like, this is easy money? Because it should be, because it should not be able to be covered.
Linebackers are not first team all league for coverage usually, right? All right, let's look at some yak.
And in fairness, like that's a play that you want to scheme guys like him on linebackers. They won't be able to cover him.
There is a ton of yak just throughout Brandon Aiyuk's film. This is back against Oregon State.
Who does that remind you of right there? Like, to me, that I just see Deebo Samuel.
It is. I've heard people mention a few times in the hours since they drafted him, he's got some of the same skills as Emmanuel, maybe in terms of movement, but I just see physicality again. Like, and John, and you can attest to this, I did not like the Dante Pettis pick when they made it just because I thought it was too rich. You and I went out and saw Deebo Samuel at his first rookie minicamp, and what did we both notice? I mean, right, just the physicality of his body, big butt, that sort of thing. This guy is
kind of built like a running back.
Physicality. I mean, physicality, playmaking. All right, this is USC. He's the man in motion. Doesn't this feel like
what's cool?
Straight out of Kyle Shanahan's playbook?
Yeah. Well, honestly, Guy, you see more and more plays where Kyle just siphons it. This is exactly what we ask him to do. So we use the word a lot just in draft circles. Is the guy a plug-and-play player? And in baseball, it's the easiest. You just put a guy at his position, he just plays. Basketball becomes a little complicated. Football, by far, is the most complicated. Am I going to ask him what he's good at doing in my scheme, or does he have the ability to mold into it? What I think is fascinating about this guy is coming into the season, was this guy really on anyone's radar? He had, 35 catches as a junior college transfer? Probably not. Maybe an intriguing player, someone to keep an eye on, but no one was saying, like, first rounder. But, Guy, I would say by about early to mid-October, this had to be one of the bigger buzz guys in the country, right? Everyone was talking about him. How about that wide receiver? And it helped that N'Keal Harry had just been drafted. But I think by the time we got to, like, the second half of the college football season, every fucking person in the league, every fan, like, this guy was on everyone's radar, which I always like. And then he just kept answering the bell, and he was awesome. Like, I like prospects like this that are – and it happens sometimes when you're a junior college prospect, and he got his chance to shine, and shine he did.
And to your point, he got overshadowed 2 years ago. I think people saw him early in the year and thought, you heard this a lot. I thought N'Keal Harry was gone. Why do they have the exact same guy again?
When you were calling his game, were they talking about him like he was the next N'Keal Harry?
They weren't talking about him like he was the next N'Keal Harry, but it was just one of those. I remember saying, do you guys think this is the next guy up? And they did not hesitate to say, yes, we think this is the next guy. I didn't quite – that game I had with them was week 2. So we hadn't really – and they had played like Kent State early, so it wasn't – but they felt like they had a guy. I think a lot of that came from the year prior. He'd done a lot of damage in the return game. A lot. This is Washington State, more yak. And this is game speed. He almost got they reviewed this play. You're going to hate this. They reviewed this play to see if they should wipe out the touchdown for the high step. In college, if you celebrate before the end zone, they take the touchdown away. This touchdown stayed. He got to keep this.
Do you agree that rule?
I hate the rule. It's such a dumb rule.
Can we let the guy celebrate? I also think sometimes, like humans, are no different than prospects. Not everyone matures at the same rate. Like Jerry Jeudy clearly probably could have been a top 15 pick 2 years ago. Some guys like Brandon Aiyuk coming out of junior college was not what he became 2 years later. Some guys just take different paths, but they still get there at the same level. And I like it when guys like this. Now, in fairness, like I'm a huge fan of this player. His body of work of all the guys that were drafted really high, Justin Jefferson, CD, Judy, Ruggs, is the smallest, right? Even Rieger, the guy the Eagles took, has been playing at a pretty high level for a couple years. This guy, I mean, somewhat of a one-year wonder just based on production. So you're projecting him being able to do this. Now, I think physicality to me, guy, in playmaking usually translates, right? His play speed, he does it against everybody. So you got to feel relatively good. But there is some unknown, just again, smaller body of work.
Yeah, I would say, and I'm gonna show you basically the same play, two different games. This is Washington State, and now we'll look at the same play, essentially from the Colorado game. Play with a freshman quarterback this year, Jaden Daniels, who's going to be really good. My guess would be, if you're concerned that you just expressed, if John Lynch brought that up to Herm would say, you can believe that what you saw was real. He ended up getting the core muscle surgery after the season, but he didn't miss a game during the season. He was not just an offensive player. We'll show you. Also played special teams. So I think he's one of these guys that you feel like maximized definitely his year. And I would guess they would say, hey, the year before, first year from JC, that's a big adjustment year, plus he had N'Keal Harry. So we appreciated that he impacted the game in special teams. But I think he just shows up consistently, John.
Yeah, part of having a smaller body of work, he was a junior college transfer, so there wasn't 3 or 4 years available. Like, he had his 2-year shot. The 1 year, they were just pumping it to, Manny Wilkins, their quarterback, was just boys with N'Keal. It makes sense.
Plus Benjamin carries the ball 700 times basically in 2 years.
Yeah, so they've produced some NFL skill guys. Jeez, Herb's, defensive guy just produces some dudes.
How about this play?
N'Keal did that, but this feels a little different watching this guy do it. Just again, play speed. He's not Henry Ruggs. He's not Deshaun Jackson. This is not really his style, but he's just a playmaker in space. And the other thing, guy, what I bet Kyle being an offensive guy, sometimes offensive coaches like speed, and sometimes comes with speed is not necessarily physicality. It's pretty clear what Kyle likes, right? He likes tough motherfuckers. So he will take toughness to me over a little speed. And this guy, Debo, Kittle, think about the guys they play. All will lower their shoulder. It's tight end, okay. How many wide receivers, besides Julio is just bigger than everyone else, just normal physical wide receivers. Like, guy, when I was in Philly, Jeremy Maclin, he's more skilled. He wasn't lowering his shoulder. A lot of guys, that's not Amari Cooper. Like, that's what separates Devontae. Like, why has Devontae become a consistent Pro Bowler? Because he's not the fast guy in the league, even though he's play speed, because he's tough. Michael Thomas, shoulder lowerer. What does Herm Edwards say? Contact courage. And we use that a lot with defense. Like, do you have contact courage? Do you have contact courage? We don't say it a lot with wide receivers, but to me, that's a separating factor with guys when they ain't scared.
Consistently takes a lot of guys to bring him down, John, and toughness obviously comes in on special teams. We're gonna watch 3 kick returns in a row against USC. Now, USC was not great in the kick cover game, but this is the first kickoff from SC in their ASU game. So this is the first one, and I remember watching this like, kind of deep. Maybe you should stay, Brandon. No, okay. Second one, kicks a little shorter. Better return. Almost takes this one to the house. This is a hell of a return.
What makes a good kick returner? Probably more than a punt returner, right? You got to be willing to put it in there.
Vision.
I mean, it's unlike punt returner where there's really just the two gunners that are going to be right on you immediately. No, I know. But on kick return, beside the kicker, there are 10 dudes, right? All typically on the same line coming at you.
So after this one, John, SC's like, you know what, screw this. Let's kick it on the ground. And they roll one up there. He picks it up. And it doesn't go much better for SC. I mean, it goes a little better.
One thing I noticed, just when the ball's in his hands, whether it's kick return or whether it's in the open field, He's not a big East and West
Yep,
guy.
he's going straight.
Well, get
Good call.
vertical, baby. Get downhill.
All right, let's run through one thing here real quickly. We don't have to spend much time on this. I think if people look at his tape, we always talk about you watch him against other pros. Best cornerback in the Pac-12, best cornerback that he played all year, Middlecoff, is Jalen Johnson at Utah. Now, of course, they have a really good defense, and they were really good all year. Aiyuk only had one catch in this game. I think when we go back and watch the tape of the Utah game, I don't put a lot of it on him. It was cold. It was windy. It was rainy, and Utah's defense is really good. They just took him away. I don't think it was that he lost a one-on-one battle. There was this. He got jammed basically once in the game. This is him against Jalen Johnson, who, I think people expect to be a starting corner. Do you put any stock? Before I run through some plays, you put any stock in this play?
Yeah, I mean, anytime you're, not super, super fast, press corners can get on you. But I get back to how many Richard Shermans now that play this style are even in the NFL. Now, there is one in the division in Jalen Ramsey, and Seattle plays that style. So they are going to play a lot of physical press man, teams that were willing to do that.
But by and large, when you watch that game, what you see is it's not Jalen Johnson one-on-one. It's a lot of zone, and they just keep eyes on him. This happens early in the game. Linebacker Devin Lloyd almost picks the ball off, and this is common. It's just he is under. He's got everybody's. Their eyes are all on him, and the times he did get open, like there, the ball gets knocked down, so he gets taken away. Here, let's show you this. This is again like there's just nowhere to put it to get him the ball, right? And this is where he'll benefit in the NFL, where he's on a team where at best he's the third option behind Kittle and Debo, but it's also an offense that you have to concern yourself with the running backs, and so I don't think this is going to be a major issue. They miss him here on the slant. Tough game for Daniels, and here is another time he gets open. So my point is, if you look at the box score, you see him against a good defense. You say he didn't get any production. I don't think this is on him.
Yeah, I would agree. Just watching these clips again as a wide receiver, it's not. This isn't basketball, right? You can't just say take the ball and just do what you want to do. You need people to get you the ball, and when you're playing Utah, who I think it's fair to say them or maybe Washington is viewed as having the best coordinator and just the best, most consistent defense over the last, 2 decades. That is a very, very tough matchup for you. You saw a couple of those zone defenses. You have the corner kind of cheating, and then you have the linebacker immediately beeline it to him. Like they clearly have, we take this guy away and we stop the run. They got no chance, and they didn't.
All right. Let us know what you think of the video. Questions? What do you think of the pick?
I like it.
I think we're going to like it. All right.
Yeah.